Welcome to the Her Voice Shines podcast, where we celebrate the power, brilliance, and resilience of women everywhere. I'm your host, Shanasia Washington. Join us as we share inspiring stories and insights from extraordinary women who have found their voice and are making a difference. Together, we'll create a ripple effect, illuminating the path to visibility and empowerment. Let's break barriers, shatter ceilings, and lift each other up. In each episode, we dive deep into the journeys of women who have turned their challenges into triumphs and their dreams into reality. Whether you're looking for motivation, guidance, or a community that understands your journey, you're in the right place. Stay tuned and remember, let your voice shine. Welcome to the Her Voice Shines podcast. I am your fabulous host, Shanasia Washington, based here in the beautiful city of Houston, Texas. And of course, we always bring you the most amazing guests. We love the space because it's a space that highlights and amplifies voices. We're championing authenticity, and we are really calling women to let their voice shine. I never let you down. I always have great guests. Our next guest is going to come and tell us her name, where she's joining from, and we're just going to kick off into a story.
Hello. Hi, Shenandra. So I'm Vanessa Anello, and I'm joining from New York City. So I am the founder and professional development consultant at Workforce Charm, where I work with administrative professionals, helping them earn competitive salaries and just achieve career growth, right? So backing up a little bit, when I first started my career journey, I knew that obtaining a higher education degree was a significant goal for me. And at the time, no one in my family had achieved that milestone, and it just became a personal mission of mine. So beyond that, I was just acutely aware of the necessity to just find a career that would ensure immediate employability and also job security. Because growing up, I experienced a lot of instability in my personal life, and I just knew that I wanted to avoid that as much as possible in my professional life. And with those priorities in mind, I just began exploring the programs offered at my local university. And I eventually landed on organizational management. And this field, it was just broad enough to provide the security that I was looking for, and also flexible enough to allow for some professional growth and exploration, because I wasn't 100% sure on what I wanted to do at this point. So I was quite cautious about choosing an educational path that wouldn't limit my future opportunities. So organizational management, it just seemed to be the perfect fit, and it aligned with my need for both that stability I mentioned and the adaptability. So once I embarked on this educational path, I quickly just realized the financial burden that higher education can bring. So to manage this, I just decided to take a hiatus from schooling and prioritize just earning money. And during this period, I just worked in a variety of contract and temporary roles. I had roles that spanned different positions, different levels, different industries, and I just gathered a diverse set of skills and experiences. And each job I took on taught me valuable transferable skills that I could apply to future roles. And whether it was in administration or operations or human resources, I found that the skills that I developed in one position often proved beneficial in the next. And over time, I just became adept at not only finding roles, but also excelling in them and moving up in the ranks. And it's this adaptability and resourcefulness that I found to be, very big strengths of mine in my career. And as I navigated through various roles, I realized that I had developed a sort of expertise in identifying opportunities for growth and also advancement, and my ability to pivot between different industries and roles, while also kind of leveraging other things. It just helped me build a robust professional profile. And it wasn't just about going up the career ladder. It was also kind of exploring the landscape of the administrative profession and learning how to navigate it effectively. So reflecting on my early career, the combination of my educational choices and also diverse work experiences, it just laid a strong foundation for my professional development. And it was this journey through various roles and industries that ultimately shaped my approach to administration, operations, human resources. That just each step along the way just reinforced the importance of adaptability and continuous learning and strategic career planning. And it's that foundation that not only prepared me for various challenges, but it also equipped me with the insight and the skills that I needed to help others navigate their professional journeys as well. And it's these experiences that inspired me to create Workforce Charm and dedicate myself to empowering administrative professionals to achieve their career goals as well.
That's absolutely beautiful. And I think one of the things when I read your form and I was thinking about, bringing you on, you mentioned something about being laid off after maternity leave.
Yes.
And in my career, there was something kind of different that happened to me after maternity leave. I wasn't laid off, but I was pretty much thrown into something I had no idea, new team, new environment, or whatever. I want you to kind of talk about that experience for you, and then really how that ignited kind of that next step. Because sometimes when we have, kind of turbulence in life, like that's turbulence. I'm just coming back. I just had a baby.
Yep.
What do you mean I don't have a job? That's turbulence. Yep. I want you to kind of talk about that experience, and then also too, what ignited in you to kind of keep going, because that's pretty tough.
Yeah. So, man, the journey to founding Workforce Charm, it was driven by a multitude of experiences, right? But the primary motivation or motivator, I feel, was frustration. And I just found myself constantly battling the challenges of job security and stability, especially during COVID and the pandemic. So these experiences, they shaped my resolve to create something meaningful and impactful for others in similar situations. When you ask in particular about, me losing my job as I came off of a maternity leave, that was something that I had not expected to happen. So I was receiving many updates along the way of, we're so happy with your work. We can't wait to get you back. So returning on that day and finding out that I was being terminated was a big blow, right? I just wanted to be able to provide for my family. Like I said, instability is not something that I deal well with, but I've also always been very adaptable, very resourceful. So I knew that, okay, bills don't stop just because you don't have a job. So find a job. So that was something that really lit a fire within me, because I knew I didn't want to be put in that position ever again. And B, I knew that, I still had all of these responsibilities that needed to be taken care of. So founding Workforce Charm was a journey born out of necessity, but it was also fueled kind of by a passion for just making a difference. So it has been a very fulfilling path, transforming frustration into, a powerful force for good. So Workforce Charm, it's my testament to the resilience and potential within every, professional, but particularly for administrative professionals.
That's really good, because you said that frustration basically can be a breeding ground for something great. And it's something that I try to remind myself when there's so many moving parts. I'm like, I am very, very committed, or really choosing to believe that this frustration is going to be something that either, number one, even if it's just a lesson to never do that again, but there's something going to come out of that. And I think that it's very powerful to keep that mindset in transitioning to that. So I am happy that you took that frustration and turned it into something else, versus kind of waddling in it and saying, I'm the victim and I don't know what else to do, because it's very hard sometimes for women to overcome frustration. And I think probably both you and I probably can relate to knowing someone who may have been in that particular position.
Yeah.
Another thing, you said that you took a job as an office manager. Yes. And you said, and this is good because I want you to talk about this. You said originally you were so excited. It's a big name company. Yes. I'm getting my foot in there. I'm about to make me climb a ladder. And then all of a sudden it's starting to feel degrading.
Yes.
Been there. Been there in several instances in my career. And we want you to kind of talk about that shift. Like, when did it shift to like, oh, it's this great thing, to now, something's not right, Vanessa? Let us
Right.
know.
So that shift occurred probably almost immediately. So I was initially, as I told you before, just super excited about the position itself. It was with this big name company. It was a step up in the roles that I've had previously. And then also there was a good salary attached, right? So I was very, very excited about that as well. So I took the role, and the very first day, I remember, just being handed just armfuls of trash. So trash bags, being handed these armfuls of trash bags and being told, okay, take these to the alley. And, I'm always one to roll up my sleeves. I don't mind doing hard work. There's no task too big or small, so I can do that. So I went and I was throwing out the trash bags in the alley, and I remember propping open the back door. And the back door, it probably was open for about 5 minutes, the time that it took for me to throw this trash out and come back in. And when I returned, I just kind of started, doing the regular tasks that I was made to do as an office manager, which is a lot of administrative work. But also this was a really unique role in that there was more of a facilities management kind of component to this, and inventory and that sort of thing. So I was working on that for a few hours. I was doing some training work and everything. And then there was a woman who came rushing in, and she's just going crazy, and she's looking for her dog. And I hadn't realized that this was a dog-friendly office or anything. Nobody had let me know. So my first thought was, oh no, the dog he had to have run out of the back when I propped that back door open. I hadn't received like a key fob at this point, so it needed to be propped open. So I'm kind of debating with myself, like, do I be a good human being and let her like, this is what I think had happened, or do I kind of just like sit on this information? That did go through my mind for a minute, because I didn't want to lose this job. This was my first day, but I ultimately decided, I'm like, no, I have to tell her, so I told the woman. She was a manager of a different department. She outranked me, and she was furious. She was truly furious with me, which I can understand, because, a lot of people, their pets are their babies, their pets are equivalent to being their children. So it was definitely a learning experience for me. And then that quickly turned into, picking up after these animals, these pets that were coming into the office. So, and doing dishes for the marketing team, who would just leave their dishes in the meeting rooms, and kind of having to cater after grown adults, I'm like, they at least know how to put it in the dishwasher, like I don't know why I have to do these or collect these dishes first of all, and then put them in the dishwasher. So there was a ton of wild tasks that were just being asked of me at the time. That role encompassed probably 4 different positions. When I left, they ended up hiring 3 additional people. But it included stocking these refrigerators in very, very cold temperatures, and just cleaning the toilets. I remember having to reach down into an AUG for an ice machine, because they did not want to hire a mechanic to come out and to fix this. And so I was made to kind of fix the thing, and I figured it out. That's what I do, right? I'm a problem solver. I'm going to figure it out. But the only thing was that later it again broke down, and then we had no choice but to hire a contractor. And when I had let him know that I had fixed it previously, he was just flabbergasted. He was like, why would they ask you to do that? Do you know that you could have mangled your hand? He's like, this was the very dangerous job. I don't know why they ever tasked you with this. So it was just certain things like that it really had me questioning my worth at the time, my ability, and just whether I was good enough. Honestly, I think a lot of us, go through that imposter syndrome. I know that's been a buzz phrase for a while now, but it's so true. And especially for women. So it's like when you're tasked to do something, you kind of feel an obligation to do it. And I certainly felt that obligation. But now I've learned to really set boundaries in my professional life. And it's something that I live by, and it's something that I teach my clients as well.
That is so beautiful, because I think it's an excellent segue really into imposter syndrome, because, I have several conversations with women, and it's something that's so prevalent. It's a real thing. And I think for me, when my transition out of like corporate America into to doing this and doing other things, it was just kind of like, okay, well, where do I start? I don't have any experience in doing XYZ. I don't have any of this. But sometimes we often forget everything we've been through and all the experiences that we don't diarize all the time and keep in front of us, that prevent us from being, who we should be in confidence, right? And I tell people all the time how important it is to take those moments to say, no, last year I kicked butt. Last year I made something big out of something small. That's what I did. And we forget that those things are so transformative in other places that we want to go and show up. Now, I felt in my career, specifically towards the end, I felt hidden. Like I was there in presence, right? I'm there, I'm doing the thing, we're having the conversations, but I felt hidden a lot in the last part of my career, where even though I had this title, the kind of things that I would want to produce, or the kind of ideologies I would want to kind of permeate in the atmosphere, it just wasn't.
Yeah.
It just wasn't there. It just wasn't there. Can you maybe tell someone who's struggling in their career, and they're saying, I just don't know how to get their voice out. Maybe they're office professional, maybe they're not, but they probably share one thing with you, and they're a woman that may feel hidden behind imposter syndrome. What would be 3 tips that you would give to maybe help them navigate the space?
So one piece of feedback that I feel like I receive from a lot of my clients, and some challenges and solutions that they face, is that a lot of them experience the same sort of feelings of kind of career stagnation. So feeling that they're stuck in the same position without opportunities for advancement, or even relevance. As you had mentioned, concern about becoming irrelevant in their field due to outdated skills, or just an inability to keep up with new technologies, especially with, the prevalence of artificial intelligence now, the chat GPTs and that sort of thing. And there's also a sense of work-life imbalance, which I think I've already demonstrated with, being a mother who is, looking forward to going back to my career, and then, discovering that I was kind of valued at a lesser level now. So that fear of not being able to balance work with your family responsibilities, and whether that's something that you determine for yourself or your job has determined for you, avoiding that burnout, or or feeling like you're neglecting your family, that guilt that we have. Those are all major challenges. And I feel like in order to really address those challenges, that we just need to do a lot of self-reflection in the beginning, right? Taking an inventory of our strengths and our weaknesses, and really spending some time on that, because I feel like sometimes it's like a cursory exercise that we kind of apply with ourselves, but then we don't really feel like it's necessary. But spending some time on doing that self-reflection, and then picking 1 or 2 big goals that you want to accomplish. Now, whether that's within your career or within your family life, or whatever aspect that you really want to focus on, doing that, and then actually following through with that. So developing an action plan and action steps to make that a reality. I feel like those are the three things that I would say for everybody to do, and in that order.
That's really, really great advice. And what's really being talked about a lot more from even when I started my career is that work-life balance piece. And I can remember putting in literally like 70-hour weeks. We're talking about 1 week. I'm talking about coming to the office at 7 a.m., not leaving till 8 p.m. and doing that routinely, logging in on Saturdays and doing all of these things. So it's so important that, because I mean, when you're clearer, you can do better. So you have all these things bogging down, you're trying to do all the tasks. A lot of people don't have enough time to work on that self-development piece, or the time to work on their voice and things of that nature. So that's where that work-life balance piece can really, really come in and help as it relates to this. At least I believe, because I felt like if I would have had more time to, maybe come to the side and, really be able to focus on me, I would have known maybe how to draw boundaries a lot earlier in my career.
Yeah, and I feel like the important piece too is just, focusing on the one or the two goals. And the reason why I state specifically one or two is because sometimes we can tend to over prioritize everything, right? Everything feels important. It feels like we need to accomplish everything. But being able to just focus on a small set of things, you'll be able to accomplish it quicker, then move on to the next. But first do those,
Yes, absolutely. That's very, very great advice. I want to ask you about workforce charm specifically.
Sure.
What do you envision this to be in terms of legacy, and what is that transformative piece that you give to your clients? Because I'm pretty sure people want to know about that, and really, really to understand that there are people like you out here that provide that type of service.
So the mission for Workforce Charm is to basically, I really want to empower administrative professionals, because what I feel that I've experienced myself, but also something that I've seen just throughout the years with many of my colleagues, or, people that I've worked with, is that there is that feeling of feeling stuck in a rut, or not being able to progress past a certain a certain piece or a certain level in their work. So I want to help people identify their skills gaps and then master those skills, whether those are soft skills or technical skills, right? So I really, like I said, the advice with, starting with the self-reflection, identifying your one or two major goals, and creating an action plan. I want to be part of that process of, done with you service to move you towards achieving those goals. So part of the unique value proposition for Workforce Charm in itself is that, I do realize that people are having, these 9-to-5 jobs that most women are administrative professionals, or most administrative professionals, excuse me, are women. And they tend to be women with families, right? They're in between that 25 to 45 age range, and they have a family, and that work-life balance that we talked about before means that they have limited time. So I offer flexible and highly personalized career coaching to help on an individual basis. And I just want to help administrative professionals stay motivated and inspired in the work, and continuously learning and always evolving.
That's great. I want to give you this one question, because sometimes we're so close to our own journeys that we don't go back and, look at what we've done. I want you to think about Vanessa when she first started her career. I don't know what she was doing. I don't know. I don't know what she felt like. I don't know how she viewed the world. I don't know. But I want you to give that younger Vanessa a message. Maybe from now you tell her how you're doing. Maybe you tell her now the more possibilities. But sometimes this is how we know that we've unlocked a lot of parts of our journey. We can go back and look at that younger version, see where we are now, and really, really see some of the things that have even transformed within ourselves. So I want you to think about it, and I want you to give her a message. And this is the Vanessa that just started her career.
Okay. Self-respect is such a needed skill. And building it up is something that will benefit you for years to come. And also, a motto that I would like to leave with younger me is probably that good things happen to those who keep going.
Ah, I like that one. Good things happen to those who keep going. And that is definitely something I think many of us can relate to. And the fact that you're still here and in 10 years from now, you'll have a message for this, Vanessa, telling her to
I look
keep
forward to it. Yeah.
to keep in stride. What you does actually really matters. But it's very important that we go back and we see that those little gems and those hard times, it brought something out of it, because
Yeah.
here we're sitting with this wisdom to continuously pour to ourselves and to others. So I want you to tell them, Vanessa, where they can find you. Give them the website, any projects or anything that you're working on. We want to hear from you so we know where to go.
Yeah. So anybody who is interested in a free initial consultation can find me at workforcecharm.com. There's a big button on there, fast track your career. You can hit it and contact me. And then also I'm pretty active on YouTube and Instagram as well. My handle on there is Workforce Charm.
I love it that we have that information. And this last segment is just for you, Vanessa. Any final thoughts? Anything that really brings this all full circle for Vanessa, for Workforce Charm? I think what you're doing is absolutely amazing. Sometimes what I see here, what you're doing, what really matters to me is that you're creating a space kind of outside of corporate for you to get those skills. Sometimes it doesn't feel safe in corporate to get those skills. And I'm just being honest with you. I've lived through the experience of being who I am in corporate. And I've been through programs and different things. And I've, dealt with all kinds of issues with confidentiality, things coming out of training that should have just a whole window of things. And I think the fact that you are able to come over here and create this space and allow these women to come in, which is in a space I'm pretty sure that you've created to be very pure and driving authenticity. I want you to also to touch on that in final thoughts. And I just want to tell you that I know the space is needed because I've walked the walk. And now on this other side, knowing that so many women come out of corporate spaces or even stand in the corporate spaces, but need so much help honing in on those skills.
I think I really love that you actually said that, because it just brought me back a little bit to the beginning of my career when, I'll be honest with you, I wasn't the most professional. I felt like even the way that I spoke was just wrong, or I feel like women in general do face a lot of challenges and struggle in their careers, especially in the beginning stages, right? No matter what the industry is, but women of color as well just experience another layer of that, right? So coming from the space that I was working in Chicago at the time, and going into the corporate space, that was a change for me. That was a change for me that I needed to adapt to. And there was this struggle in the beginning between like, okay, how do I balance being authentically me, right? And also projecting this corporate version of myself that will earn me respect, right? So I think I made a lot of mistakes in the beginning, a lot of mistakes. And sometimes I made those mistakes more than once. So I had to learn some lessons more than once. But also at the same time, I see so many of the people that I've grown up with, or family, or just other people who are coming from those same kind of urban areas and everything, going through what I went through back then. And I just want to be that guiding voice to kind of just like, okay, it's not just about climbing the career ladder. I also want to be the person who, once I get to the top of that career ladder, turns and holds a hand out for that next person and helps them up.
Well, Vanessa, I have to tell you, it's been good. It's been a good discussion. We definitely need to drive these discussions, especially for women who are going to remain in the corporate walls. They need as much support as they can possibly get. Our world is changing. And it is very important that they have a voice, and not only the voice, but the skill set to match that and maximize their career. So, Vanessa, I want to thank you. I really enjoyed it. I support your mission, and I want to thank you so much for being here. To all of our listeners that are out here, we want to thank you for tuning in to another Voice of Her Voice Shines podcast. And I always tell you, we always bring the best guests. So thank you, Vanessa, and you guys have a great one.
Have a good one. Bye.